Hi, my name's Brian, and I'd like to share with you my Pescador Pilot Pro, which is a pedal kayak, and some of the modifications that I've made to it to make it more user-friendly. I bought this kayak used for $1,000, which obviously is a pretty good deal when it retails for $1,800. It wasn't used very much, so I felt pretty good about the purchase. A couple things right offhand that I noticed that I didn't really like was that it only had one handle here, and when you lift it, it tilts the boat. So I added a second handle, quite easy to add, and I used through bolts with locking nuts on the back and washers. There's a hatch right here, and so it was easy to get access and secure a second handle. This works really well for loading and unloading the boat. Secondly, the rudder would not go up and down very easily. It was very, very stiff. And I figured out that there's a screw in here that was threaded, and when it would tighten up, it would just squeeze down on the pulley system. And so what I did was pulled that screw out, I drilled all the way through, and then put in a through bolt with washers and a locking nut, and the pulley's a little looser now, and so this moves much easier. So that's a fix I haven't seen yet on anything on YouTube. So if you're having trouble with your rudder being able to raise and lower easily, I would suggest you put in a through bolt. The second thing on that is I also noticed when I am lowering or raising the rudder, I like to have the rudder to the left. This gives it a much better line up here with the cords, and it just makes it a lot easier to raise and lower. This boat also is really difficult to steer, so I saw some of the mods on other places, and I put in the coated wired cable and replaced that, and it works so much better. I also followed along some of the other mods. I put a couple of washers underneath the control here to raise this up, get easier to turn right and left. Now it's very easy. A couple more mods. Found these great tackle boxes by Magreel, got it off Amazon. These are waterproof, and I measured, there's a slot in here right alongside the seat that these boxes fit in that slot just perfectly and just kind of hang right there. Of course, I put bungees on all these. I have another little box with flies. Have my pliers underneath. I won't show that, but and then this came with the Yak Attack rod holder, and I really like this because if you're using a fly rod, it locks right in very easily. So I would highly recommend that. The holder for the paddle is kind of flimsy. I like it as a secondary, but I put in another holder here. And to make it work a little bit better, I put in a spacer right here. I just found a piece of plastic that was about the same size as this. It sits out a little bit, so that keeps the paddle tilted just slightly away from the boat, which is a little bit easier. I added a Scotty rod holder with just I don't have the rod holder part on here, short shaft. I did it on both sides. The other side, I added a longer extension so that I can put in a full-size rod. Ends up being my salmon steelhead rod that I use as my secondary one with some lead core line on it. I do put a sponge, and it's again on a tether, just so that if I do get a little bit of water in the boat, if I got a lot of water in, I added scupper plugs, the black ones. You can buy them by the 8-pack, I believe. If I got a lot of water, I would just pull one of the plugs and the water would drain right out, and then just push it back in again. Another modification or addition, I added the Garmin Striker 4 CV Plus. So it's the Clearview Plus. And the reason I got the Striker Plus is that it has a GPS in it. It doesn't have base maps, which is unfortunate, but for 150 bucks, I got it on Black Friday for $150. That included the transducer, and super easy to wire. I put the battery in here, just a $30 battery from Cabela's, and I put a quick charge spot so that I can put on my trickle charge very easily. The transducer wire goes right down through the scupper hole, so I leave that scupper plug off. Underneath, you're going to see there's no modifications needed to add the transducer. Boy, I don't think you're going to be able to see that, but the black transducer is dead flat to the bottom, and there was no modifications needed to bolt that on. It just bolted straight onto it. I'm trying to think if there's any other modifications I made. Well, one thing I would suggest is getting a good grease gun. I got one with a tip that's pointed, and I did squirt about 20 shots of grease on this side. I took out there's a little plug, took it out and shot it with 20 squirts. Now it's way smoother, very quiet. One thing I like to do with this pedal kayak is I like to actually pedal backwards when I'm trolling. And with the Garmin, I have speed so I can tell exactly how fast I'm going. It's just kind of like rowing a boat backwards, and easy to pedal backwards as it is forward. I've caught a lot of trout in this. I can run 2 rods easily. It's just a lot of fun. I'm a big fella. I weigh about 285, so it has no problem holding my weight and very stable. My biggest problem is getting into it because it's just so low, and that's because I'm a big fella, again, getting in and getting out. I also did purchase a kayak vest. This is Chinook, really nice. It's got some pockets so you can put some gear in it. Very easy. It's got a mesh back so it keeps you cool. When I'm not using it, I just store it in the front bow hatch here. And boy, I tell you, for loading into my truck, this thing is so easy. I just put my tailgate down, push it in, and then I just hook this tie down into the back, give it on the one handle that I installed actually, give it a little pull, and it's totally secure. I go right down the freeway with it, no problem. I do put the rods down, obviously, and break down my fly rod and to put the net down. But this is an amazing kayak. Again, it retails for $1,800. I got mine used for $1,000. Made probably $200 or $300 in modifications, but highly recommend it. I don't use this out in the sound. I've been using it in lakes, but I can't wait when the salmon come in real close. I might try it in the sound. Most of the time I'm fishing out of my big boat when I'm going for salmon or halibut or something like that. So I don't think this is going to see the saltwater a lot, but it is pretty good deal. Oh, I did want to share with you what I did for the rod holders in the back. As they are now, they're just really loose and they don't hold a rod very easily. If you put the rod in there, it's just all wobbly and really kind of useless, to be honest. So I bought some PVC or ABS pipe, and it's just a 2 1/4 inch pipe on the outside diameter. Oh, 2 inches 5/16 to be exact. This one I didn't get sanded quite right at the right angle that I really liked, but I just used a belt sander and sanded a bevel on it, so this end is very thin. The other side is thick, and then I used a Dremel tool to cut a notch. Well, Dremel and an oscillating saw. It fits down in tight. I pushed it down in, and then I sealed it with some silicone. Everything that I added, I always sealed with silicone as well. I don't think I need 4 rod holders, so I'm just leaving these ones open. I may put a plug in there just to keep the water from going in. But these are excellent rod holders, I think. And the other thing that's kind of nice is that, you know, if you put in a smaller spinning rod or something like that, it locks right here, keeps the rod really secure. I suppose I could put in a strap if I was really worried about tipping my kayak over, but I'm not that daring. I'm not standing up in this kayak, even though they say you can. Anyway, that's the modifications. Make any comments that you like, and if you have any suggestions for other modifications that I might make, let me know. This is Brian again, and my Pescador Pilot